All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to Yakin with Yukon. EC, what's up, my man? How you doing, brother? Good to have you guys. We have a good show on the slate for you tonight. We've got JMC Collects. He's a cool guy. Looking very forward to talking with him. And just welcome, guys. It's a nice Sunday night here. For once, it's not raining and all that stuff. So excited about that. So hopefully, you guys are doing good. Hopefully, you had a good weekend. I wish I could say I did, but I didn't. Everyone in my family's sick. So what are you going to do? But let's get it going, guys. Remember, as I'm going along, if anybody has any questions for Joe, please shoot them in the chat and I'll get to them as soon as we can. This is an interactive show, and we want to be sure that we get to all you guys. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the night, Joe from JMC Collects. What's up, my man? How you doing tonight?
Good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Doing
it.
good, man. Absolutely, absolutely. We already got
Yeah,
EC Collecting, your
yeah.
podcast mate,
A
on.
podcast,
So
man. Yeah, thanks, brother.
yeah, man. And we got T3 on. What's up, man? Hey, I
Three.
held up my end of the bargain, T3.
He's got it on, man.
I
Look at
got it
that.
on, man.
That's
I got it
awesome.
on.
I love
And
it. I
he's
love it. I might be looking for that. I might be looking for one.
Walmart, dude, $23.
Oh man, you can't beat that. And
You
it's
also
not a
got,
movie sweater too. It's awesome looking. So
I know you're into horror. They had some horror ones too. I think I saw Freddy, and I think
oh
I might have
oh
saw Jason. So
yeah.
man, check it out.
They
Check it
might
out.
not be at my Walmart till next year, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, so we'll see.
Usually it's the other way around, where you guys on the East Coast are getting something, and then I talked about this with JB's toy trunk the other day. Usually you guys get it, and then I see it like next year. So
I live in that one little hole that like everybody around me is getting shit, but then
yeah,
I get
yeah,
mine last. It's still in the storage
gotcha,
containers or whatever.
gotcha,
So
man.
yeah, I mean, Target's a little different. Target, I do have some stuff, but
Well,
yeah,
at least you can find stuff at Target. Walmart,
I
it's
try.
pretty rough, pretty
Yeah,
rough.
yeah,
But I'll show you guys. Hopefully, you guys appreciate this like Joe did. But I did find something at Walmart the other day,
yeah. That's
which I'm
awesome.
waiting on my one from the mail. I'll probably see that in 2024, but we got one now. So look for a review on this one, guys. Probably a 60-second review. But enough with that. Let's get to talking. Yes, Walmart does suck, EC. You're right.
Yeah, you
Let's
do.
get to the nitty gritty here, Joe. All right, man.
Sure.
So we're going to start out with YouTube. So you're pretty new to YouTube.
Yes.
What made you go down this path? What was your influence? What kind of just started it up for you?
Yeah. Well, you know, during the pandemic, I got kind of bored. Um, Getting out of work relatively early, like I do. I'm like, I got all this time at night. What am I going to do with myself? I started turning on YouTube and just started coming across like these toy hunters, and I'm like, man, people watch this. This is pretty cool,
Yeah.
you know. Like,
Yeah.
I collected things all my life, so I'm like, man, I can't believe these people are getting this many views. So you know, I came across a few like I think Greg Cook and What's Poppin',
Hmm.
OG Geek. They were the three primary ones that I've watched when I first started. And I'm like, these guys are, you know, doing like the exact same thing that I'm doing, but I'm just not taping it. So
Right.
I'm like, maybe I need to start taping it. So fast forward a little while, I start talking to T3 a little bit, and he's like, you know, you just got to get over that fear of talking to yourself.
Yep.
So, you
Yep.
know, I'm still getting there. Sometimes it's a little weird still, but yeah, I mean, talking to him, and I was already doing these things. So I'm like, why can't I go on here and try to entertain people like they entertain me, and, you know, see what happens? So here I am, you know, 60 some followers later. I'm getting
Yep.
there. We'll see what happens, man. It's slow and steady, but
Slow and steady. That's what you're moving up pretty quick though, because I know when I started following you, you were like at 20, and that was only a few weeks ago that I
mhm,
messaged you. So
yeah.
I think you're doing great, man. I think you're really moving
Thanks.
up actually pretty quickly,
Thank you. Thank
which is great. I know you got a good group with you right now. You got EC, you got
you. I do.
T3, you got me,
Yeah.
you got all these other guys. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think you're doing a good job, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I got a lot of support, man. I appreciate them all.
That's good.
Yeah.
Support's one thing that is definitely needed when you're going to get into this.
Yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned that you were a little bit nervous just kind of being on camera and stuff. Do you think you've gotten a little bit better at that, or do the nerves still kick in a little bit when you're doing a video?
I don't worry about the camera so much because I do the podcast.
All
So, I
right.
mean,
True.
that doesn't bother me so much. The thing that bothers me is just when people are around in the aisle, I guess, and I'm trying to work around them and not get them on camera. So like if you watch my new video coming out Monday, I had this family that kept, going around and around. So I'm like, let me give this kid a chance. So I'm going around. I try to set something else out. Then I come back and he's still there.
Still there. Yep.
Let me go
Yep.
somewhere else. Come back and he finally's gone. I don't want to get into the way of the kids. The toys. Let them enjoy them. I could always come back and film, but I don't want to be in their way. Let them enjoy things, tear things up, check through them, and that's my biggest thing. It's like I just don't want to be in the way of the kids, and I don't want to get anybody on camera who's not going to appreciate being on camera. So I
Sure.
try to get out of their way, and at the same time, not have them think like, "Why is this guy talking to himself?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I do now is I actually got some good advice from, and I forget who it was, but they were like, just pretend you're like on like a FaceTime chat.
Exactly.
And that's what I try to do now. So it kind of works out.
What would you say the most difficult? What struggles have you had so far since? Because you've been doing this since October, about
Yeah, I
September,
started,
October.
I started recording in like September, but I really
Okay.
didn't put anything on YouTube till about early October, I think it was mid October. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the biggest struggle is what I just said. It's just trying to get over that fear because I see people walking through the parking lot on their videos talking about let's go in and see what they got, blah blah blah, and they're walking in. When I try to do that, I'm like, there's cars coming, there's there's this and
Right.
that, there's horns blowing, and all kinds of shit
Right.
happening. And I'm
Right.
like, how do these people get all this free time to talk and watch the camera and not get hit by a car? So I guess the biggest struggle for me still is just getting over the fear of I just gotta say screw everybody else and just do my thing. And I think I'm getting there with that.
Absolutely, man. I do too. I do too. So, who are the main? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but who are like your idols of YouTube? Toy hunter wise, who are the guys that really you saw this and you're like, yeah, these guys catch my eye, and I really want to follow them and see what they're doing and maybe learn some stuff from them. You touched on that a little bit of it. If you
Yeah.
could kind of expand.
I mean, definitely Greg Cook. I think he has this down to a friggin' science. I mean,
Hmm.
every one of his videos are different, but they're all laid out the same.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of rambling, which sometimes I watch people and they ramble on too much. And I might have done that in the beginning too, and I hope I'm getting away from that. But I think when people ramble on too much, I think people tend to shy away from watching those kind of videos. I know I have in the past. There's people that I've unfollowed because I don't want to hear the ramble. Let's go in and see what we got. Here's what I got. Have a good day. See you later. Thanks for watching. That's what you need. That's what Greg Cook does. I like it. Seth's another one. He goes in there. He does what he does. He goes to the back to the room. He shows you what he got. He gets out of there. Done. And OG Geek's a little different because he's like my third favorite. Because he kind of buys, sells, he does shows, he has little things mixed in like that that's a little different from the other two, which I appreciate and I like to watch too. So I would say all three of those would probably be the reason why I kind of like latched onto those three was the reasons I just said because they just get to the point and they get out.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Mm-hmm.
good. Let
Yeah.
me get back to the chat. Welcome some people that have shown up here. Michael Cherry, what's up, man? Good to have you. Rolando is a regular on Yakin with Yukon. So what's up, man? Jeff, him and I were talking about turtles. I don't know if you're into turtles. We'll get to that in a minute, but him and I were talking about Ninja Turtles the other day, or
Mm-hmm.
actually today. We'll get into that. What's up, Jeff? And I think that's everybody for right now. So again, if you guys have any questions, please send them in the chat for Joe. All right. So kind of sticking with YouTube. What are your goals? What would you like to see your channel do? Would you get monetized, just doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
meeting cool people? Well, what are your kind of your goals, not only for now, but kind of for the new year?
Yeah. I mean, would I like to get monetized? Sure, and that's always a good thing. But right now, I'm just having fun. I met a lot of good friends along the way. Um, it's always a plus if you can get those advertisements and get monetized. But right now, I'm just focusing on doing what I'm doing and trying to get people to like me enough where they will sub and stick around and see what happens. Because in the new year, I plan on doing a few other things with the channel besides toy hunting, like showing a few more dimensions of myself that have nothing to do with toy hunting, like my mountain biking and things like that. So I have a few things planned that I would like to do. So I want people to know that if they give me a chance, I'm going to try to entertain them in a few different ways and not just one
Right.
way. And that's what we try to do on the podcast too. We're going to try to get more people in where it's not all about toys, it's about other things. So we have a few surprises there too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. So sticking with that, glad you brought that up because that was my next question. Tell us a little bit about the podcast. I'm sure everybody here has seen it, but just give us a little bit on what you and EC are doing with that podcast and just kind of what your plans are for that and where that's going.
Yeah, so the next few weeks we have a few guests. Seth from What's Poppin's coming in next week on Sunday, and then the week after OG Geek, and then on the first of the year we have Cushy Mama coming in. So we got a few toy hunters, collectors planned. But next year I have a mountain bike, a YouTuber who's also a former Red Sox too. So he's going to be joining. We don't have a date set yet. Cool guy. He knows a lot about mountain biking and all. I watch him a lot. So we got a few things that's going to, I know EC has some things that he's working on. So we're just trying to make it where it can be more than just toys, even though, we love the toys and all, but we want to expand it and make it for everybody,
Sure.
or at least a lot of people.
Right. Who was the Red Sox?
I'm not sure of his last name, but his name is Matty Active on YouTube, and if you look him up, Matty Active, it's all one word. I'm not sure of his last name. I don't think he's ever given the last name, but he showed like clips of him playing and things throughout his YouTube videos. So pretty cool guy. He knows how to wheelie really good. He does some really good mountain biking. So I've been following him probably about a year and a half. So it's
Nice.
been fun. It's been a fun ride.
I actually didn't even know that there was YouTube channels for mountain biking. So
Oh
that
my
I mean
god,
that's
there's
cool.
some.
That's cool.
Yeah, I would love to get my favorite on Single Track Sampler. He does some really crazy trails, downhill trails. Yeah, but he travels around the country in a van. He lives out of a van, and he just goes to a lot of different bike parks and does mountain biking. Me and my wife got back into it about a year and a half ago, and truth be told, we haven't been out lately. I'm kind of out of shape now. I don't know what I would do if I did go back out right now, but in the spring, we're going to try to hit it hard when it gets a little warmer out. So we definitely plan on getting back out there. So
You guys have a lot of good trails in your area?
we do. We
Yeah.
do. Yeah. We have one not too far from the house, actually, Fair Hill. It's a gigantic park. I mean, it goes on for miles and miles. We have Lum's Pond not too far from us. And there's a bunch of them in Pennsylvania and other parts of Maryland that are close, and in Delaware too. So
Okay.
yeah, there's a fair amount of stuff around us. Nothing like out there in Colorado from what I've seen, but like the downhill and all that. But yeah, we don't mind traveling. We'll throw the bikes on the truck and go, man. So you never know where we're going to end up. But that's going to be part of the channel next year, I'm thinking. So
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
used to live in Colorado. That was a big thing there too. That
hmm
and hiking.
hmm
Huge thing.
yeah,
What
yeah. We
what
like
got you into
doing
that?
that.
Have you been
Yeah,
doing that a long time?
mountain biking.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I did it on and off for years, and then about a year and a half, 2 years ago, me and my wife got back into it. And she never did it before. We bought two bikes, and I was like, just give it a chance, and she did, and she loved it. So she's doing really good. I mean, she keeps
Nice.
up really well. So yeah, it's
Nice.
fun.
Cool. We got a couple of guys I haven't seen in a while in the chat. This is interesting. All right, Lax Sivrak, what's up, man? Hey, you keep it clean in that chat. He likes to go off in the chat, so you keep it clean, my friend. Blue Sasquatch, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. And Drew's Farmhouse. I don't think I've ever met Drew's Farmhouse. Local mountain biker and toy collector in OKC. So yes, my friend, we may
Fun.
have to hook up and you know see if we can help each other out with that sort of thing. OKC collecting's kind of lame, but it's always good to meet people around here. So very cool. And Mr. B, what's up, Mr. B? A lot of new guys. You're bringing new guys to this channel, man. Way to
Yeah,
go.
I don't know who they are either, but
Oh,
thanks.
okay.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, man.
Right on, right on. All right.
Evidently, I'm a hippie who likes the weed smoke, but yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that with my job. So
Right,
wrong guy.
right. All right, man. Well, we kind of touched on YouTube. Let's touch a little more on your collecting and your collecting habits and what you're really into. What would you say your favorite line or genre is to collect right now?
I've always been a Star Wars guy. But recently, I've always been the horror too, but I just been on a horror kick lately. So I've acquired quite a few horror figures as of late, but I think always Star Wars. I've been a Star Wars nerd all my life. I've always loved the movies, loved the shows. So I would say Star Wars one hard too. And I love wrestling, but I'm kind of getting away from the figures of wrestling a little bit more. Like if unless it's a chase or an exclusive, I just usually stay away from it a lot now.
Right. Favorite Star Wars movie?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Good choice. Very
Hmm.
good choice. Very
Yeah,
good choice. Yep, definitely.
yeah.
How long have you actually been collecting for? Have you, you most guys they started out when they were kids and it just kind of, you might have had the time off when you're a teenager and then,
Mhm.
you get to be an adult and you start up again. How long have you been collecting for?
Well, yeah, like when I was a kid, my dad would take me to the store. We'd get one toy to open and the matching toy to keep in the box. He always was big on that. Like, son, keep this. It'll be worth something someday. It'll be fun. So I did that, and then fast forward, I was doing that with my son before he passed, and I would tell him, let's get one to keep in box, one to open and play with. And then I guess I gave it up for a while when as he got older, and then he passed away. But over time, like during the pandemic especially, I was like talking to a friend of mine. I'm like, man, I would kill to have my old LJNs back. Like I wish I could get them back. And he was like, well, why can't you? And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. Why can't I? So that's when I started going on YouTube and looking at these toy hunters, and I started going to collectible stores again. So I would say within the last year and a half, 2 years is when I got back into it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
My condolences on your son. I'm very
Thank,
sorry to hear about that, my friend.
thank you. Yeah.
Um, Let me go back to my notes here real quick. Okay. So the horror thing.
Mhm.
Um, Give me one sec here. So what do you think your number one horror item to collect is right now? I caught your Bela Lugosi Dracula. That was really cool, man.
That's probably my favorite piece right
That
now.
is the cool piece. I really like the coffin.
Yeah. Yeah. The
So are
coffin's
you
cool.
more? The coffin's very cool. Yeah. So do you think you're more modern, or do you think it's more the classic, Bela Lugosi
Well,
type thing?
I know without those guys, none of that would be possible. So I always give it to those guys. I pay homage, to those guys because they were the originals. Um, Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff and all those. So I love having those. But the slasher films is what I grew up on mostly because I wasn't old enough to watch them black and white movies when they first came out, obviously. But I did watch them later on, and I appreciate them all. And without them, like I said, none of this would be possible. But the old slasher films, and that's why, like when Terrifier came out and Terrifier 2, it kind of brought back the slasher films for me because over the years there were not very besides Saw, there were
Mhm.
not very many horror movies that I could latch onto that were really horror movies. They weren't really scary. They weren't really hard to me. They weren't really brutal. Like, I mean, if you watch Terrifier, he's ripping limbs off and pulling eyes out and everything else. I mean, it's even more gory than like Friday the 13th. But when I was a kid, they'd say, "Hey, you want to watch a Disney movie?" No, I want to watch Friday the 13th. So like,
Right,
I've always
right.
been a little messed up. So I've always loved that shit, man. I always have. And when they brought Terrifier out, have you ever seen that, or have you not seen that yet?
I have not. I'm not really huge into horror, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I've heard things. So I don't know if you heard about it. It's something like the director was saying in Terrifier 2 that people were vomiting and passing out and all
yeah,
this
yeah,
stuff and
yeah.
that sort of thing. So I mean, do you think that that's true? Do you think that that's that brutal to where people? I mean, they did the same thing with the Blair Witch Project. You probably remember
Yeah.
that back in '99,
Excuse me.
just to get some good attention on the movie because I know it's an indie film. But
Yeah.
do you think that that's even possible, or is that just a load of crap?
I guess some people are squeamish. I mean, I've seen some parts in that movie. Excuse me. That I could see squeamish people maybe having a problem. And the reason why I say that, I used to work in an operating room. I've seen nurses come from like out of school, get in the operating room, and then pass out right in there.
Sure.
And then they would no longer be a nurse because they couldn't take it. So
Right.
yeah, I guess certain people. I didn't like. For me, I'm good with it, but I guess a lot of people, if you're squeamish, yeah, there's certain parts where you probably need to turn your head. I know my wife put her head under the blanket about 5 or 6 times during it. Not that she'd pass out, but she just doesn't like to look at that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's possible if you get a person with like a weak stomach or something like that.
Right.
There are parts of it that could do that.
Right. And you guys had a little bit of a watch party on your
We did.
podcast for
Yeah,
that the other day, didn't you?
yeah, yeah.
How'd that turn out?
It was a little bit. It was not that many people show up, but we enjoyed watching it again. So
Sure.
yeah, that's what counts. I mean, we had a good time watching it, and I'd watch it again. I mean, I love the movie. There's a few parts that I thought were a little, uh, well, they didn't fit what they were trying to do with the movie. I thought like there was like a sword part where it was like mystical, and I'm like, oh god, why do they do this to this movie when it's not like that?
Right. Right.
But I think they could have shortened that movie down like 15 minutes. It was like an over 2 hour movie. I think they could have.
That's really long for a horror movie.
Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
could have narrowed it down to about an hour 45, to be honest. But I love it either way, so it worked for me.
Okay. Nice. Let me get back to the comments here a little bit. These guys are going crazy. Borlas. Okay. So Lax says Boris Karloff was awesome in the Dick Tracy episode as gruesome.
Huh.
Okay. Blue Sasquatch. I almost bought the White Chewbacca Black Series Christmas to paint blue. That's not a bad idea. And then let's see what else we got here. Original Cape Fear was one of the greatest horror thrillers of all time, starring Robert Mitchum. What do you think about that? What do you think about the original Cape Fear?
Um, it wasn't one of my favorites. I didn't really care for it too much. I've always been like Friday the 13th. I like the slasher ones, I guess. Cape Fear
Sure.
may have been a little bit of a slasher, but it wasn't my kind of thing. Um, I liked like Texas Chainsaw Massacre was my favorite of all time. Friday the 13th, Halloween, Freddy. The top four. Pretty
Right.
much.
Was
Um,
there any of these guys when you were a kid that actually scared you, or was it more just I like this, I'm fascinated with it, I'm not really scared because I know that Jason
yeah,
scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
yeah.
So
I think I was more fascinated by it. Like I was always rooting for the bad guy, like catch him. Like
yeah,
I hope he catches them. Like
right,
whether it be in wrestling or horror movies, I always liked the heel. So I'm
sure,
like,
sure,
man, get him, get him, get him. So I don't know. I just always it didn't bother me. I could watch it in pitch black in the living room by myself as a 10-year-old, but although I didn't, but I could. It didn't really bother me. So
right, right. Nice, man. I mean,
yeah.
that's impressive because there's no way I could have done that. So that's very impressive, man. Very impressive.
And that's not to sound like a tough guy or anything. I just I
No,
knew
no,
I knew,
no.
I knew it was a movie,
Yeah,
and then that's what it was, and I just looked at it as such. So it wasn't like anything else. But
sure. Let's see. Let me get back to this. My father-in-law turned down 3 shades of white when I was dressed in a white tail at Harvard State. He almost passed out. Okay, it's Mr. B. And I don't understand what's going on with the rest of this. So we're gonna skip these guys. All right, next question. Um, so with your horror collecting, what do you think the number one item is that you collect? Are you into? Because I don't think Hot Toys really makes a lot of horror figures, do they?
not that
It's
I'm
more
aware of.
sideshow,
No,
more
not that I'm
sideshow,
aware
right?
of. No,
NECA. So what company right now is really cranking out the horror figures that you're liking a lot?
NECA does a lot of good ones, and I found like the Trick or Treat Studios. They
Hmm.
make a lot of
Hmm.
good figures too, and that's what I got. That's where I got my Art the Clown figure. He's a 6 scale, like a hot toy. Really good quality actually, and they make Halloween and some Freddy too. So they're doing a good job with their stuff. Not really well known, and not that I know of. I mean, I didn't really know who they were until I was looking for the Art the Clown. But the NECA and Trick or Treat, I think, are doing a really good job with them. And then I forget the name of the company that made that Dracula that I got, but they did a really good job too with that. I think
Yeah,
the face sculpt is really good.
yeah, that was great work for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely great work. Um, 1 second here. Oh, okay. So I wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about the collab that all of us did
Mhm.
on mental health awareness. I
Yeah,
know that was your idea. So could you kind of talk about where that came from? And I mean, it was an awesome idea, man. I think you and T3 did a great job putting that together. very happy to be a part of that. So
Mhm.
thank you for asking me. A lot
Yeah.
of the other guys in there were part of that. So can you just kind of talk about where the idea came from and how it kind of materialized?
I'll be honest with you, man. I was out with my wife at a brewery having lunch or dinner, whatever, and my mind's always going. So I'm like, like around the Thanksgiving time, it would be cool to just have a bunch of the gang together, with a couple minute clips talking about what we're thankful for, and if to reach out if anybody needs help. So I messaged T3 when I thought of this, and I was like, "What do you think about this?" And he instantly loved the idea, because he's all about helping people and the mental health thing. So yeah, it was kind of like something that just ran through my head like randomly as I'm sitting there, and I just immediately texted him, and he jumped on it, and within days later we had it done. So it was pretty unbelievable, and whoever, everybody that got into it, I appreciate it, and I thank them for doing it, yourself included. It was fun to do, and hopefully people watch it and we can help somebody. Like I always
Absolutely,
say,
man.
if we can help that one person, that's a good day. So,
Yeah, I don't want to get too personal, but is that something that you've struggled with?
especially with my son, because he
Sure.
committed suicide. That's how I lost him.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why it hit me hard. That's how I actually started talking to T3 one day, because when he was on a hunt, I was watching his video. He was talking about mental health, and I'm like, I just messaged him and said, thanks for bringing that up, And then we started talking. I started telling him what had happened, and one thing led to another. We did the two overgrown third graders podcast for mental health, and
Hmm.
then the piece that you were just talking about. So yeah, it helped a lot. I appreciate it.
Good.
He's a good dude.
Definitely. T3. Guys,
Hmm.
if you haven't checked out T3, by the way, T3 will be my guest next week, so we'll talk more
Hmm.
with him. But
Hmm.
yeah, if you guys haven't checked out T3, go check him out. He's a
Definitely.
great dude, very supportive. I mean, probably one of the most supportive YouTubers on all of YouTube. So
Yeah.
really very good dude. So go check him out if you guys haven't. Let me get back to the comments here a little bit. Do you guys have any questions for Joe? If you do, send them in the chat. But right now, it's just kind of a lot of. Let's see. I got Lax says he got the clap a few times. We're not going to get into that. Jeff, yes, talking to someone, a friend or doctor helps with trauma. Absolutely. If you guys haven't checked out that video that me and Joe were talking about, go on T3's page right now. Go on his YouTube channel, check it out. Hopefully, it's great collaboration. A lot of great YouTubers on there, just kind
Mhm.
of being thankful for everything they have and giving a little insight on that whole thing. So go check it out if you guys haven't seen it.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm giving love to the chat. I'm giving love to the chat. EC,
Yeah.
it's all good, man. Giving love to the chat. So, all right, man. Well, back to your horror. God, was that kind of the driving force behind your channel a little bit? Because I love your intro. I think your intro is very unique to what anybody's doing,
Mhm.
and the way you're kind of putting what people can expect out of you through your intro. Was that kind of the thing you wanted to do? The driving force behind it?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like when I first started that intro, I used like the Death Star as the logo,
Oh, nice, nice.
and I didn't stick with that very long because I found something that worked better for me. But I kept the original like smoky,
Hmm.
dark, because yeah, I guess because of the horror thing, and then it kind of mixed in maybe a little bit of the dark side with the Star Wars type thing, and yeah, so I kind of just wanted to let people know, like, yeah, we're gonna go toy hunting, but I'm not gonna have like circus type music to start this off with. This is me. I like horror. I like the dark side. I like Star Wars. I like the bad guys, and this is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for um, jolly happy. I
Right,
like the
right,
warrior type, bad guy type stuff. So
right.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's see, Mr. B. He wants to know all types of figures you collect. If you could just run down the list on everything that you're collecting
Hmm.
right now.
Yeah. So a horror, Star Wars, obviously, some wrestling. I'm trying to shy away from that a little bit, just like maybe unless they are like chases or exclusives or something like that. I still do. ultimates, maybe depends, supremes, things like that. But no more elites and no more like regular wrestling for me. Hot toys, I love. I gotta watch myself with those. They're kind of expensive, but NECA horror. I got some of the turtle monster. I love that line.
Good line.
Um,
Yep. Good line.
yeah. So, and then I love the helmets. So, T3 makes fun of me all the time, because I get all the helmets. Yeah, I love the helmets, man, because I don't know, they display well. So,
Yeah.
and they're pretty cool looking. So, yeah, I love all those.
I remember I messaged you a couple of weeks ago about those
Mhm.
helmets.
Mhm.
What studio were those from? What did you get? Did you have the Commander Cody one?
The Commander Cody one is from a company called Xcoser.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
and
That's it.
they do really good work. I got two from them. I got Commander Cody and Wrecker, and then the rest of them are just Black Series.
Right.
But
How would you say the quality is with those? Is the quality better than Black Series? Is it as
well,
good as Black Series? What do you think?
the Black Series are plastic,
Yeah.
obviously, like a harder plastic. The X Coaster is more like a molded resin type
Okay.
clay material. So they are like when I got the Commander Cody in, it was a little chipped. So I emailed them and they said, send it back. We'll send you one. No problem. They were good about it. So no problems there. But you have to be more careful with the X Coaster ones because they are like a shippable resin material. But they're still wearable. They're really nice. They're actually comfortable if you do put them on. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking about getting a couple more X Kosher ones along the way. Black Friday they had a deal and I missed it, so probably a good thing. But
Yeah, I mean, they look really good.
yeah, they
I
do.
know Greg Cook's had some of those before too. I think
Hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
majority of his helmets. I know he's got a few Black Series here and there, but I think the majority of those. Well, he makes his own too, of course,
Yeah, I
because
was gonna say
he
he makes.
makes
Yeah,
everything. So
yeah.
you
I wish
know,
I could make my own.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's really good at that.
yeah, he is. Yeah.
So let's see. Let me get. I got a few comments for you. Okay, so you kind of touch on this, but maybe you can go a little bit more. Besides horse, Star Wars, what else are you into? So we got into mountain biking a little bit.
Hmm.
Are you a Marvel DC guy? Are you really into that sort of thing?
Like I've missed a lot of that. I haven't sat down and watched a ton of it. I do like Spider Man. I was just telling T3 today I want the Spider Man and the lizard with the lab coat because I work in a chemistry lab, and I just think having that lizard with the lab coat would be pretty cool to have in my collection because of that with the little beakers and whatnot.
Yep, yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, certain things catch my eye or like peak a memory from back in the day, like nostalgia. I'll grab it, but I don't necessarily go out looking for those type of things. But if something catches my eye, like the new Spider-Man or like the lizard or what have you, I will pick something like that up.
Yeah, that lizard figure that looks pretty good. I haven't
Mhm,
seen Spider
mhm.
Man. I'm trying to find the Spider Man for T3. I know he's looking for it,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna
and
keep in mind for that. But
he's looking out for me for
is he
that. So yeah,
nice,
because I
nice?
mean the lizard was on Walmart today, and then by the time I went in and got my wallet, it was sold out. So
Yeah, they go so fast, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
ridiculous how fast those
mhm,
things go.
yeah,
So yeah, but I'm looking for you, T3. If I see that Spider Man, I'll be sure to hit you up, man. Went
yeah.
back today, they didn't have it, but so T3 wants to know, have you ever seen The Crow? And if you have, what do you think about it? And are you excited? I think there's a new one from the guy who plays Art the Clown coming out, right?
I'm not
Thought I
sure if
heard
it's
that.
a new one. I haven't. I've seen the old one. I've seen it. It's been years and years and years though, but I have seen it. And I know, like watching wrestling, Sting actually copied part of, his
Yep.
face paint and all that
Yep.
back in the late '90s
Yep.
to look like the Crow. I don't remember a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but I have seen it. It's just been a long time. I know that's one of his favorites.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a
Yeah.
cult classic,
Hmm.
honestly.
Hmm.
Have you seen that figure? That's a pretty good. I think that's a
I
pretty
have.
decent figure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. They do look good. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's an NECA, so it's gonna
Yeah.
look.
So they're not going to
Yeah,
be bad. Yeah.
right,
Kind of
right,
accessories and yeah, look good.
right. So you mentioned wrestling. How do you like what? So are you okay? First and foremost, WWE or AEW? AEW.
WWE. Yeah.
Okay, WWE. So do you like what Triple H is doing?
Here and there. I mean, some parts. Some part.
Okay.
I know he can't change everything overnight. He is bringing a lot of guys back that Vince McMahon let go a year, 2 years ago. Um, I know he can't do everything overnight, but he's trying. I mean, he's given some of their names back. He's given different personas like that they actually want to go by instead of something that McMahon wants to have.
Yeah, yeah.
So for the most part, I'm happy. There are some little quirky things that I still don't like, but I just figure like you can't change it overnight. I'm thinking maybe by the Royal Rumble we'll start to see big change, and when Cody Rhodes comes back and The Rock, and
Yep.
we get that whole bloodline storyline going with Sami Zayn, and I think it's going to get back to business. But I'm enjoying it a lot more than I did. I enjoy SmackDown more than I do Raw, to be honest with
I
you.
agree. I agree.
Um, but I do watch AEW, and I'm not a big fan of it anymore. I think the attraction to me for AEW was all the WWE guys jumping over,
Right. Now
and it
they're
was
all going
exciting to
back.
see
Yeah.
them. And now, yeah, they're not using them, so they're getting frustrated. And now it's just like a shit show over there.
Right.
So I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. There's some good wrestlers, but they're not using them. I like storyline, man. I want the soap opera part of it, and they're not giving it to me. They don't have not. Well, I don't think one story that I'm like
Hmm.
invested into over there. So it's kind of hard to sink your teeth into something like that.
Well, it's like you mentioned Sami Zayn. So that's like, to me, that's a great story right there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like what's
Yeah.
going on with that. And it shows how good Sami Zayn is, not just as a
Mhm,
wrestler, but on the mic.
mhm.
So, like you mentioned, the only thing going good with AEW for me, promo wise, is MJF.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Nobody else can really,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
nobody can really hold what he does except maybe CM Punk, but
yeah.
we
You
all
see
know
what
that
happened
story.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because last week, MJF was talking about, he's still talking about, the bidding war of
Yep.
24,
He
and
is. Hmm.
he's like, "Come on, Triple H, give me a call." He says this stuff right on TV on
Right.
AEW programming, so it's kind of like I don't even know why Tony Khan doesn't say, "Look, dude, you can't do that no more," or whatever. But it's pretty evident that he'll probably end up going to WWE.
I would agree.
I
I
think
would
even
definitely
if
agree.
Khan throws him some money, I think he's going to want to do something different because they're just not doing storyline type things that these people want.
Right.
So I think money might not trump that when it comes down to it.
Well, and the whole thing with AEW was it was kind of built around, everybody's sick of Vince, so let's go have an alternative. Well, when
Mhm.
Vince retires, you
Yeah,
kind of lost the whole thing that you were trying to do right there. And it's just
yeah. I mean,
now
look at
you're
Rusev.
right.
When he
Exactly.
left WWE, he wasn't being used. He was frustrated, and he hasn't been on TV since I think June now
Yeah,
in
it's been forever.
AEW.
It's been forever. Yep.
So
So it's like the
I don't know
same
what
old
they're
thing,
doing. Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yep. Okay, T3 brings up something that I can't believe I missed. Yukon, in your short, when you picked up the Star Wars figure, Spider Man was sitting at the bottom. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. I'm sorry, man.
Wow.
I was just too excited about the Star Wars figure. Let's go back and look at that. Let's see. EC should talk about the Eternals instead. We're not going to talk about Eternals. And
Jesus.
he's telling you to get into Marvel.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I mean, I could go back and catch up, and I told these guys, in the wintertime, I may have a better chance of watching some TV and getting caught up. Um, but in the summer, I'm just outside. Summer, spring, I'm riding my mountain bike. We're doing things outside. I'm just not sitting there in front of the TV watching
Right,
movie after movie, show after
right.
show. But I'm going to try to catch up on some of that. I mean, years ago, that's how I got into The Walking Dead because it was snowy, it was cold, I didn't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
go out, and I was like, let me watch The Walking Dead. So I binged it. So eventually, I'm going to do that with Marvel. I need to catch up. I really do. Because there's times where I'm in the chat with these people and I'm like, I don't say anything because I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So
Yeah,
I
right.
just let them have their piece. When they
Right.
start talking about horror, I'm in. But
Yep. Yep.
so
There's one thing I didn't cover. I asked this with everybody. One thing I didn't cover when we talked about your collecting. What's your grail item? No, money doesn't matter. Availability doesn't matter. What is your grail item that you would absolutely love to have?
oh man, that's a good question. I mean, as far as what I have, there's one piece that I really like that I have. I don't know if I have a grail item. I'm more of somebody who just when I come across something and it piques my interest from the past, that's when I consider it for me in my memory a grail for me. Like I found a Lion-O figure from Thundercats a few weeks back the one where the eyes light up when you put the little battery pack in the
Yeah.
back of your head.
Yep. Hmm.
I found that, and that just struck a memory from when I was a kid watching Thundercats, so I picked it up. But as far as what I got, there's a first edition Mandalorian in a white box, Black
Yep.
Series that I have that I want to go get graded. So I'm in the process of trying to get that done. I think I'm going to send it down to Bits and Buttons, and the guy I was talking to from there at ICCC, he said he can get it done for me. It's like $60. I think I bought it for 40. I couldn't believe I found it for 40
That's a
bucks.
steal, man.
Yeah,
That is a steal.
yeah, I got it and got the hell out of there before they knew what was going on.
Right.
And so then I went home and I looked it up, and it was like 150, 180 bucks. It was
Yep.
worth.
Yep.
And the guy down at Bits and Buttons at ICCC said, if you get that graded, he said, we have one right here. It's worth 800. So
Wow.
for me, it's not about the money, but just to have it graded and know that, if a rough time does come around, I have that,
Exactly. Exactly.
who can't use that, but yeah, I think that's one of my favorites. I mean, I try to keep that really, really clean. It's a pristine box too. And
Hard to find. A lot
I
of
had
those
to dig.
boxes are starting to deteriorate.
Yeah,
And
I had to
yeah.
dig. Like I was in the store and I was digging through a lot of stuff, and there it was. And I'm like, holy shit! Like, why is this here? $40.
Was that a collectible store?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Usually they know what they got. It doesn't sound
yeah.
like he knew what he got. How long ago was that?
Whew, that was probably before ICCC. So that was probably in February or March.
Okay, so yeah, I mean everybody
Yeah,
knew what it
yeah,
was and how much it's
yeah.
worth.
I think
That is a steal.
yeah, I got it from a store in Dover called Their Action Figures. I did a video on them too. It's on my YouTube channel, but I think they had so much inventory that they just lost track of it. So when I brought it to the young lady at the register, she didn't know, and at the time I really didn't even know until I got out of the store and looked it up. I mean, I knew it was something because anytime it
Right.
says first edition, I'm like, this has got to be something special, but I don't know. And when I got outside in the car, I looked it up and I'm like, yeah, it's like 150, 180 bucks. Like, why is he selling it for 40? It's like mint. So yeah, I got lucky on that one.
Those usually the pieces they got behind the counter, and you got to
Uh-huh.
ask for them. Be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
how much is that? And they got it all
yeah,
protected and everything else.
yeah,
So yeah, man,
yeah.
that's a great find. And
Yeah, this one was on a rack that was like 3 deep, and I just started moving everything, looking around, and then I saw that, and I'm like, I know first edition. Why is this here?
yeah, that's a fantastic
Yeah,
find, man. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I've heard of people paying 200, 250 for that. I mean,
Mhm,
it's come down in
mhm,
value just a little bit recently, but
mhm.
yeah, that's a great find. I
Yeah,
never saw
yeah.
one in the store. Did you see any in the store when they first came
No,
out?
no, no, I haven't. No, no, and like I found a couple other white boxes of different figures. I found another one there about a month later. It wasn't as it wasn't as rare, I guess you can call it. But and then I found a few down at ICCC. So I have about 6 or 7 white boxes built up now. And then the last time I was in the store, I found my last one down there in Dover. A guy was looking at. He was like, "Man, where'd you find that white box?" He said, "In here." I'm like, "Yeah, it was on the rack." He was like, "You just got lucky." So I don't. I've never even looked that one up. So
Nice,
that was a
nice.
stormtrooper. So we'll see.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, unfortunately, I think the Mando's the only one really worth
Hmm.
anything. Their others
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
30, $40, but they're not worth a ton. It's just pretty
Yeah.
much the Mando.
Yeah. The Mando.
So
He's pretty cool looking. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. All right, Jeff's got a good question for you. All right, House on Fire. Say for family photos and documents, which five figures are you grabbing with you?
Is he saying besides the photos and?
Yeah, yeah, we got to take all that stuff in consideration, but you can only get five figures. Which five are you going to take with you?
That's a good question. Shoot. I guess I'm taking my. I guess I'm taking my Mandalorian we just talked about,
Okay. Yep.
and I guess I'm taking as many Hot Toys as I can grab.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, so they're so expensive. But I also got a shitload of Hasbro's over there, the old '90s wrestling figures.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
I was collecting them for a while, and I don't have them all, but I got a majority of them. It's hard not to grab them too because they bring back memories as well. So,
Definitely.
but
Definitely.
probably the Hot Toys and the Mando because of the priciness of them.
Yeah, Hot Toys are. I mean, I'm glad for the people that do it that they have the payment plans because I
Uh-huh.
think that really helps.
Mhm.
But I dove into that last year. I think I got like 8 or 9 of them, and it just got to be too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But you and I were talking backstage. How many did you say you have?
I got about 12 to 15 of them. They're all scattered around. So yeah, about 10 to 15 of them, somewhere around that. I
Which
would
one's
say
your
close
favorite?
to probably the Death Watch Mandalorian. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I've heard good
death.
things about that.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
we got a theme going here, right?
that theme going. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely,
But I
definitely.
do have the 2 pack of boba too. That
Oh, the
so
okay.
that's probably actually that's probably my favorite, and Death Watch is probably number 2. So yeah, just because it came with like a stormtrooper helmet that was kind of cracked, so I have Boba Fett stepping on it like he's won,
Oh yeah.
as
Yep.
it's displayed. But yeah, it's
Yep.
cool. I like that
Yep.
one.
Yep. Okay. So T3 says for his 5, he's going to take Spider-Man Retro, Worthy Cap, Symbiote Spider-Man, the Crow 12-inch, and the Crow 7-inch. It's good choices.
Yeah, yeah.
T3 is a Marvel guy.
And the beauty of it is everybody's going to have something different because
Oh yeah,
that's the beauty
definitely,
of what this is. So
definitely. I mean,
that's
I'd have a hell of a time picking. I'm looking
yeah.
over
I'd
here.
probably burn
I
alive
don't
trying to
even know.
figure it out. Yeah,
I'd be like, I've got it insured. Just let it all burn, and I'll just buy it, rebuy it.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
not?
I'd probably burn alive trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, it's like I can't even begin to think of what I
yeah,
would do with that.
right.
So, all right, man. So let's see what else we got here for you. Um, so let's see. Okay. So you're a new YouTuber. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to start up their own channel? What advice would you say, okay, these are the things you need to know that I didn't know that I want to pass on to you about YouTube so you can kind of, not have it hit as hard as it hit me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the same advice that everybody has given me. Just be yourself first of all. Don't try to be anybody else. Just go out and do your own thing. Um, budget. Don't
Budget.
go out there trying to be like everybody else that way either. Like you see all these guys buying thousands of dollars of stuff a month with their
Right.
piles of loot, and not everybody can do that. So don't try to be like them on that. And I guess the main one is, just try to block everybody out, and just if they're wondering who you're talking to, let them wonder. And I'm getting over that now finally. But you got to get over that fear of talking to yourself and filming, and still at the same time watching who's coming down the aisle and trying to respect them as well. So
Sure.
yeah.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Definitely good advice. Who's winning the game behind you?
Oh, Dallas, unfortunately, 7-3. Yeah, I need them
If
to
you
lose.
guys couldn't tell, he's an Eagles fan and he's not
Yeah,
going to be rooting for
yeah.
Dallas.
No, no.
So you and I are going to be a little bit different on that because I live in Oklahoma. Dallas is the closest team to me. So by default, I have to be a Dallas fan. So
Oh, okay. Well,
better than being a
right.
Bronco fan. You know,
Yeah,
we're not gonna do that. They're terrible.
yeah. Yeah,
T3 says, yeah, don't pre-order a bunch of stuff that you may forget about on Target and Amazon. Yeah, don't do that. Don't
yeah,
do that.
yeah. That's a
Yep.
good way to cause arguments. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the thing is, that stuff's going to come at different dates than what they say. So you
Yeah,
got to be.
yeah,
That's some bullshit, Phil. Got to be a Dallas fan. The hell you do, Jeff? You're
yeah.
obviously not a
Jeff.
Dallas fan.
Yeah, Jeff. Tell him.
Yeah, tell me, Jeff. I'm gonna wear a Dallas sweater next week just for you, buddy.
Oh my God! Thank God you didn't wear that today. Oh, I may have had to say something suddenly came up. I
Uh,
had,
right? Yeah, you're gonna just deny me.
yeah.
That's it. No, man, I haven't been a Dallas fan since I was a kid with Troy and Emmett and
Mhm,
Michael Irvin and stat.
mhm.
That's it. Not so much anymore. I'm more of a baseball fan, so
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even hardly
yeah.
care
Well, I had a
anymore.
good season with that too. It was good. The Phillies almost did it.
You had a good season. Yes, you
Yeah,
did. Yeah, it's too bad.
unexpected too.
It's too bad you lost to the cheaters.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
I'll take it though. We had a fun season.
You did. I mean that home run by Harper was
Ugh,
something, man.
yeah, it was
That
a
was
fun.
something.
It was a fun time for
Did you
sure.
catch any games?
I caught most of the playoffs. I didn't
Okay.
go to any of the games in
Oh, okay.
person. I used to have season tickets to that too, but Yeah, when I got divorced, they were taken too, and I lost all the way around. But yeah, it's
Got it
probably
all
better.
taken away, huh?
Yeah, I don't. If I go to one here and there, it's okay. But I'm not big on going all the time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a torturous day, between parking and all the. Yeah, it's just a mess. I'd rather sit here with the fire on, with a beer, and watch it myself.
Well, it's a lot easier,
Yeah, it's a lot
like we were
easier.
talking about
Yeah,
backstage, $40 parking,
yeah,
$12, 15, $12 beers.
yeah, yeah.
You
The
know.
last time I went to a wrestling event, it was like a $20 beer.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't believe it. Yeah, I
yeah.
was like, well, I guess I'm getting a soda. Well, that's still $15, so you still
Right,
lose. But
right. It's like, who can afford this anymore?
yeah,
People. It's tough, man. It's
yeah,
really tough.
yeah.
T3, the
It's
Seahawks won. Nobody cares. It's the Seahawks, man.
tough. He's the only one that cares. The seats
We were
are.
talking about that the other day. I told him that we would trade him Russ back for Drew Lock, and he didn't
Mm,
seem down with that. He don't. I don't think he wants Russ back.
yeah,
You want
yeah.
Russ back, T3?
The seagulls.
The Seagulls. And Green Bay sucks. Well, a
I
little
don't think
bit.
Colin cares about them either. He's more of a basketball fan. I don't think he
Mm.
really cares about Green Bay too much.
Be
It'd be
nice.
nice if I was.
We'll be
Well,
nice, man. We'll let the Seahawks thing
I
go. Yeah,
told you I'm
but
always the heel.
we don't like the dirty laundry you sent to the Broncos, though. I mean, God, you guys screwed the hell out of the Broncos with that one.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to that quarterback? He was good. What happened? I guess
It's
he's
like
getting
you just
old.
felt apart. Well, the problem, okay, so I used to live in Colorado and I used to
Mhm,
be a Broncos fan back when Peyton and Elway were there and all that stuff. The problem is they welcomed him and treated him like he was a rock star.
mhm,
I don't know if you
mhm,
saw like the promo of him walking up in the white shirt and stuff.
mhm.
I think the guy just thinks he's better than everybody, honestly.
Wow.
He's got a real attitude and you know, I- I'm a big believer that you can't give somebody 100 and or what do they give him 260, something
Mhm.
like that
Yeah, something like that.
without seeing him play. Oh, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, okay, he did stuff in Seattle, but you saw the last 2 years in Seattle, he was terrible.
Mhm. Yeah,
So why are you
yeah.
gonna give him all this money? You
True.
know?
Yep.
So I think he's just you did make the trade of the year. You're absolutely right. So I think it was just one of those things where he's got a big head and he couldn't fit it through the door, and
Mhm.
that's it. He's like, all I gotta do is show up,
Right.
and that's all I gotta do. So, there you go. I mean, that's about it. That's
Mhm.
about all you can do. So let's go back to Star Wars for a little bit since you and I are
Mhm.
both huge Star Wars guys.
Yeah.
Favorite character?
I love all the stormtroopers, but I guess my favorite character has to be Darth Vader.
Absolutely.
Again, yeah, yeah, it has to be
Absolutely.
Vader. Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
he's iconic. Who doesn't know Vader?
That's exactly right. They said he is like the most recognizable character
Mhm.
of all time.
Yeah. And
If you
even
look
though
at
he had
Vader.
a soft spot, he had a
Mhm.
soft spot. I still like it.
How did you like? Did you catch the Obi-Wan series? How did you feel about that?
I liked it. I wish it would have been a little longer. I feel like they rushed
Yeah.
it into like 6 to 8 episodes when they could have expanded it more, but it was good. I liked it. I like Andor too. The first two Andors I didn't really care for. As I went on, it got better, I think. And I still haven't finished it, so I still got a little way to go. I'm all over the place. I'm just all over. So
Right. I just
never
can't
sit
get
still,
myself to
man.
watch Andor for some reason. I just keep hearing that it's really boring and really hard to watch, but
Yeah,
I guess it gets better as it goes along.
that's what I
That's kind of
hear,
what I'm
and
hearing.
it's
Yeah.
starting to get better as after the second episode, I think. Um, but like I said, I don't sit still that long to watch a whole series. I'm watching Wednesday right now, which is really really good. I'm probably going to watch the rest of those tonight before I go to sleep. But yeah, that show's pretty good. If you're into that, it's from the Adams family. The girl, I forget her name now, Jenna Ortiz, I think it is, something like that. She's a really good actor for 20 years old. She's really, really awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't ever actually heard anything about that, so I have to
Yeah.
check
It's
that out.
on
Is that
Netflix.
on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. Yeah.
Okay.
Really
All
well
right.
done.
Are you looking forward to The Mandalorian coming back March 1st?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't wait.
I
Yeah.
think that's the best thing Disney's done.
I like Boba Fett too, but the
Did you?
Mandalorian definitely. Mandalorian is definitely probably the number one out of those.
Okay.
Really well
Nice.
done. Yeah.
Nice. What was it about Boba Fett? Because that's not a well liked series. What did you like about that one?
I always disliked this character. I mean, he didn't get enough respect through the movies, I don't think. And now that they try to give him his own show and explain a little bit more about him, I just thought it was pretty good. I thought it was, and the way they integrated that with the Mandalorian together, a little bit there, I just thought it was good. I mean, I liked it. Not one
Yeah,
particular
I mean,
thing.
I think
I just liked it. Yeah.
it got a little bit of a bad rap, but it was a little slow going,
It
you know.
was. It was.
But I mean,
I'm a sucker for Star Wars. Anything you put on there with Star Wars, I'm gonna watch it. So
sure, right,
I'm a
right.
sucker for it.
Oh man, get rid of Grogu. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to
No,
get rid of Grogu. I think
no.
he's kind of the staple on that show. Um, okay, so T3, he's going to shed a little more light on Wilson. He got his own office in Denver, and he's got his own locker room. So he's not even in the same locker room as the other guys. He's got his own locker room
Mm.
and his own office. No wonder nobody likes him.
Sounds like a CM Punk type guy.
He does. He sounds just like a CM Punk
Yeah,
type guy. You're
exactly.
right, man. He does. He definitely
Hmm.
does. And T3 says Rogue One's his favorite, so you and T3 are on the same page on that one.
Yeah, I mean the way that it was amazing to me the way they went back. Like, so you had the original three, and then 20, 30 years later, you make Rogue One, whatever it was, and you're placing that right before the very first one.
Mhm.
So when you see the Imperial officer that got killed in Rogue One, and there's an empty chair in the very
Yeah.
first Star Wars, I mean, that takes some thinking. I mean, that I got to give it to him for that. That was a good job done. So I love the way that it just blended right in. And if you watch Rogue One, you would never know it's done 20, 30 years later with
Oh, it
like
blends in great. It
it
blends in
blended in
perfectly.
perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was impressed by that too. The attention to detail is really nice. I kind of
Mhm.
wish the Vader scene to be been a little bit longer
Uh-huh.
with him taking out all the rebel troopers, but
Yeah.
very well done movie.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's my favorite.
General Kenobi's Bunker, you are late, man. The show's
You're
almost
right.
done. Guys, if you haven't checked out General Kenobi's Bunker, go check him out. Give him a like, give him subscribe. Good friend of mine. Sorry I'm late. That's all right,
Mhm.
man. Glad to
Better
have
late
you
than
on.
never, brother, right?
Yeah, right.
And the good thing is you can always go back and watch. So,
Right. You can always go back and watch. Yeah. So if you guys have missed it, thanks, man. I know you're gonna get one too by your comments on my video. So go get
that's the
yourself one.
first thing I said to him. Nice sweater. Thanks for wearing that.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, go check him out if you haven't, because great YouTuber, great
Hmm.
friend. So very good.
Yep.
All
He's
right,
awesome.
man. Well, I think that's about all I got for you. I'm going to let you have a couple minutes here to plug yourself. Let us know. You kind of did already, but here's your second
Hmm.
chance again. Let us know what you're thinking, what's going to happen in the new year,
Hmm.
what your goals are, and what you kind of have on the docket for the new year.
Yeah. So as far as my personal YouTube, I got a new video coming out tomorrow around 9 a.m. I think it's scheduled for just two Walmarts, whatever. Check it out.
What
JMC
time's your
Flex,
premiere?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Eastern.
9 a.m. guys.
Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then as far as Well That Effing Figures, we have guests next week on Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Seth, What's Poppin'? He's coming on. And then 1 week after that, we have OG Geek on the 18th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Talk to him. That'll be cool. And then we're doing a Christmas special. I know it's going to be Christmas. It's on a Sunday. People are busy,
Oh,
but
nice.
we're still going to do it.
Very nice.
And we're going to have people on. Anybody that wants to come on in. We'll share it together if you have time. And then the first of the year, we have Cushy Mama coming on the first of the year to start the new year out right. And then we got a few surprises and some YouTubers that have nothing to do with toys planned, and we just got to work the dates out with them.
Okay. Cool.
And then my other podcast that I do, Talking Nerdy with my friend Scott, that's every other Tuesday at 7. So it's not this Tuesday, but it'll be the following Tuesday, and then every other after that. So we have fun on that one too. We pretty much do the same thing on that one as we do with Well That Effing Figures. We talk about whatever, movies, wrestling, whatnot, stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty
Right on.
much it for me.
Good deal, man.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah,
Guys,
man.
everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. Good chat going on. You guys were
Yeah.
just, I mean,
Yeah.
I could
Thanks,
barely
everybody.
keep up. You guys were on fire tonight. So thank you.
Yeah.
Let me run down the agenda for the next few weeks going into the new year a little bit. Next week, T3, who's been on fire in the chat, he will be my special guest. So we're going to talk to Carlos for a while. And then the week after, this is going to sound lame, but this is an idea I've had for a while. Guys, who is the greatest toy collector maker of all time? Santa Claus. Santa Claus will be my special guest on the 18th. So
Nice.
that should be interesting.
I'm
Guys, if you have
tuning in for that.
kids,
Yeah.
if you guys have kids, it's going to be completely family oriented, family rated. If you have kids that want to join in, want to ask Santa Claus questions, he's going to take time out of his busy schedule 1 week before Christmas to talk to all you guys. So there's only one YouTuber in the land who got Santa Claus, and that's Yukon Phil. So look forward to that. Then going into the new year, we're going to have EC Collecting. He's going to be on G-Force Racing. Guys, if you haven't checked out G-Force, go check out G-Force. And Dre from Suos Geek Vault will also be on. I do have one more question for you, though.
Okay.
So, like, all those are really good YouTubers and stuff, but you just named out some that have like 30,000 plus subs, man. How do you get these guys on your show?
Oh,
You guys got some, I mean,
no,
damn.
no, see, even though I haven't really been in this a whole long time, I've always, I if I'm watching something and I liked it, they always say DM me, so I DM them. I pick
Okay.
their brain. I talk to them. I talked to Seth. I talked to Big Dub a few times. I've talked to Josh Pence.
Man.
I talked to a lot of the guys. I met these guys down ICCC. It was a really nice playground to get to know somebody and talk to them. So when I got back from there, I DM'd them, and they were all very receptive. They DM back. They I asked what's popping to be on, and he's like, man, it would be an honor to be on it.
Man.
I mean, yeah, I appreciate them all. That's the thing about this community, man. Nobody thinks, I can't say nobody, but most people don't think they're above anyone else in this community, and they're always willing to help out somebody new. And that's why I like this whole community so much. And that's why I always support you and T3 and EC and Dre and all these guys, because they've always supported me. I mean, just the people, even, look at General Kenobi. I don't know him very well, but we've been in chats together. We've been in pods together, and we just, always try to support each other. Whether I pop in for a few minutes or stay the whole time, I'm always going to show my face and try to support if I can. I know these guys do the same for me, and I appreciate them.
That's what it's all about, man. Yeah. That is absolutely what it's all about. So, yeah, I just feel a little intimidated sometimes getting to, the Cincy nerds, Josh Pence's of the world. I don't know why I feel intimidated. Maybe I shouldn't, but yeah. So that's great for you guys.
I talked to Josh Pence for about an hour and a half down ICCC. I mean,
nice.
Him and his wife were very nice. And when I got back, he was like, why didn't we get a picture together? And I'm like, you know what?
Nice. That's awesome.
I was like, dude, I really didn't want to bother you guys like the whole time. So I just wanted to, let you know that I support, I watch. And then things just went from there. I mean, I talked to Josh today. I said, hey, you want to trade something for that one hot tool you're selling? So yeah, I mean, they're very receptive guys. I mean, Sleeping, I met him down there. He was cool. He's an awesome dude. So
I think you just sold me on something. And I've been thinking about it for a while, and that's going to ICCC. So I think I'm going to be doing that this year. Definitely to meet you and T3 and EC. And, if we can get Kenobi down there and all those other guys that you named, I think that would be a great, not only great experience, but like you said, networking and get to know some of these guys. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're already planning. Meet T3, EC, Sleeping, I think's going.
Okay.
We're going to meet down there and try to make it as big of a shit show as we can. Just toy hunting and have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good, man. So yeah, I'll have to keep you guys updated on that. I think I'll
do that.
Yeah. I think I'll do it for sure. So
yeah.
All right, man, we'll let you go. We've been over an hour, but thank you so much for being on. Definitely love to have you on again. And you have a good night. You guys in the chat, you guys have a good night. Remember, next week T3, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.
You guys have a good. Absolutely, man. Later, guys.